Perfect.
What's going on, people? I am Swerver, and this is the OpinionatedFacts Media Group podcast, where normally we talk about breaking news and current event analysis, but we got something special for y'all today. Today we have a special guest. His name is Just, and he's going to be talking to us about some of the trials and tribulations of fatherhood when you're co-parenting. So let's get right into it. So what's going on, Just?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, I got to make sure I introduce my people here too, man. I forgot about them. I'm sorry, y'all. I got so excited.
So excited about it.
Jump straight into it, man.
I'm excited, man. I'm sorry. Look, man, that's the selfish way. I got Coco Love, Illuminated Lenses, and Journey to Be Great. I'm so sorry, y'all. That was just messed up.
It's okay. Just push us to the side. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. But look, man, I'm just so excited, man. So, let's get back to Jess, man. And just give us a little bit of background, because I don't want to assume a little bit of background of, I guess the point you're trying to make here today.
Not a phenomenal story, just a man who, unfortunately, the marriage didn't work. So that was the cause of that demise. However, I still have a responsibility on this earth to the children that came from the marriage. So just ensuring that I'm able to do, my part on my side. Just because me and the mother chose to go separate ways doesn't give me the choice or the, opportunity to stop loving the kids that came from the marriage.
I got a quick question. Like, so what was like the moment when you knew, or I guess the situation that took place when you knew you was like, I want to leave, or was it her that chose to leave?
So it was several different red flags.
Okay.
And, at the end of the day, you have to choose, health is just not physical. When I recognize this is not healthy for me, nor is it going to be healthy for the future of my children, sometimes you just have to, unfortunately, take that L and,
I got you.
And start, I guess, quote unquote, anew, right? And, figure it out again, start from ground zero.
So what are some of the things, I guess, from a father's standpoint when it comes to co-parenting? What are some of the things that you have had issues with, I guess, as far as being a co-parent with this particular young lady?
So there's always the first matter of time, right? Time is so valuable. And the kids have their own schedule, and both parents should have just that, time with the kids. No matter what, a piece of paper may say, the children always need both parents, right? Boys need their fathers, girls need their mothers, and vice versa. So ensuring that time is given, time is the most valuable thing that we have, right? So, if that's not given, then the relationship can demise or be detrimental, right? So, I hate that some people only get to see their children once a month or once a weekend or just for the summer, right? There's kids' lives change daily. You know what I mean? Puberty happens, things happen at school that need to be, I feel like I think parents need to have pretty much a daily conversation with their children, regardless of what home or residence that they're residing in currently.
I agree with that 100%. I have to say that because I have a small son, and yeah, he's growing rapidly. So yeah, I can see exactly what you mean about that. But let's move like a little bit further into it. So like, what's an example of, I guess, a time where you felt like time was a real issue? Like, could you give us something like about that?
Yeah. Again, like I said, unfortunately, when you go through the courts, right, there's things put into place, specific days, specific times, 8 o'clock here, 6 o'clock here, or whatever, this Sunday, this Saturday. But at the end of the day, we have to do what's not only best for the kids, but as in ourselves as well, right? One unfortunate specific time that I had, like, what I would call an issue or the quote unquote drama, right? Unfortunately, I was dealing with, death in the family. Death is untimely, so no one knows when they're specifically dying, right? So, there was a time where I just really needed to get my kids so we could, all attend the funeral. And it was kind of broken down to me like, hey, this is not your time.
Wow.
Why? Exactly. I was like, forget this piece of paper. We're dealing with life here. And, yeah, it was very, unhealthy. I would be lying if I didn't say the conversations didn't get, what I would call unhealthy. But, I just couldn't fathom that'd be an issue, right? Forget what this piece of paper says. Forget what was typed up and, notarized. We're dealing with real life here, or unfortunately at this time, the untimely death of a family member. So, the lack of empathy was, I don't even have a word for it. Shocking.
So, not to cut you off, but was it, was it always like that, or was that the first time that something like that had came up?
Something to that detriment. Yeah, that was the first time, but, like I said, unfortunately, you have to remember what happened between the parents, right? There had to be, things that happened to make us separate, right? So, there's been other times where I was like, hey, I just want to come get the kids. It's not your time. Okay. I could respect that because, people make plans, and I get that, and you have to respect that. Unfortunately, that comes a part of the demise of the relationship, right? That you don't have 24/7 accessibility. So, but when it comes down to, family issues like that, like it was the first time something of that detriment happened.
So basically, you guys have a custody agreement pretty much, and what's happening, or one of the issues is that when it's time, when when you're wanting to spend time with your children outside of the custody agreement, you're being met with issues pretty much, right?
Hey, it's pretty much, it's black and white, right? This is what it says, so this is what we're doing.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
I understand, the reasoning for the documents, right? To set boundaries, to set, specific itineraries, correct? But again, sometimes, as we say, where I'm at, life be lifing, right? So when something happens,
things happen.
Things happen, and let's not forget the fact of the matter that not only are females, but we are emotional too. Sometimes you just want a freaking hug, right? Sometimes you just want to come and take your kid to McDonald's and get some fries, and maybe vent to them, just give them a hug and touch them. So, I would never, me personally, not give that person that option if needed, right? So, unfortunately, sometimes we look for things to be reciprocated that we give that are not reciprocated, right? So it is what it is.
Go ahead. My foot was on the gas. Come on with it.
So do you feel like it's being done just to be like spiteful or petty, or do you feel like this person is trying to stick with the agreement so there's no I guess like issues or whatever? Like, which one do you feel like it is?
Well, respectfully, and let me make sure I say this. I have no personal issues with the mother of the children. I don't have any ill will. But sometimes emotions,
they run high, man. They run high. They
run high, right? And you can't think from an emotional standpoint. So, to answer the question specifically, yes, there's definitely been times where there was opportunity for me to have so even when the demise happened with the divorce, right? I chose to move like minutes away. Therefore, if something happens, I'm accessible to my children, right? I could have moved anywhere in the surrounding area, but I wanted to be right there if something happened. So we live literally 6 minutes away from each other.
Big shout out to you, man. I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off. Big shout out to you, man, for being a stand-up guy. I'm sorry. Go ahead. That was.
Oh no, it's cool. It's cool. And, and to speak, just like openly, it was hurtful because I was trying to break that chain from, what they call a generational curse, right? Unfortunately, I didn't have that, father in the house either, right? So, again, I had to make a personal choice. I don't like when parents stick together for their children, right? We're doing it for the kids. No, you're miserable. You're miserable. And again, like I said, it's starting. You cannot get time back. So if this child is 10, don't stay with this woman or husband guy until they're 18 till they go off to college for them. You just spent 8 years of being miserable, right? So, but back to the subject. Yeah, when you can't use the kids as pawns, and that happens a lot of the time, especially with an emotional woman who still has maybe emotional attachment, right? You did take vows in front of your pastor and family and friends and say, hey, we were the goal was to spend the rest of our lives with each other through sickness and health to death. We're still alive, right? So that didn't work, right? So yeah, sometimes the pride gets in the way as well. So,
man, and the thing, and my bad.
Go ahead, man. Get on the gas. Go on with
it. But the thing with that is, it's crazy that when you do get married, and I'm not married, I don't have kids, but when you do get married, you know, like you said, you know, y'all said the vow to, you know, to you know, love, respect, cherish each other and everything like that. But it's funny even when you have kids, you say a vow, you just don't realize it. Cause right then, once you have kids, your responsibility is that kid. Your responsibility is to cherish, you know, hold them. The only difference is that's stronger because unlike with, you know, a husband and a wife, you can't divorce your kids. Your kids are always going to be your kids because that's your blood.
Great point. I like that though.
I think that's a great point, but unfortunately, a lot of men don't feel that way.
That's true.
Hold on.
Unfortunately, and I'm a man. I'm just going to be 100 about it, right? A lot of men are like, yo, she want to do what she want to do, but guess what? I'm going to do what I want to do to get them kids. You know what I'm saying? And they like, let's be real. Like, we're going to keep it 100. Let's keep it 100. So, like, that's the part that's the frustrating part. Like, a lot of men are like, okay, well, it didn't work with her. So I'm going to let her handle these kids and I'm going to go be a young boy again. I'm going to go out here and sow my oats some more. And the kids, unfortunately, the ones who suffer. And then you have a mother who's hella frustrated, you know what I mean? And you know, and gives another point for people to fall into that stereotypical thought process when it comes to fathers, especially when it comes to black fathers.
Man, this is really good. I'm so thankful that you came on. This is great. I mean, I hope for the fathers that are listening, or even mothers. I mean, this is a really good example of what goes on in the mind of a man. So don't take this stuff lightly. This guy, as you can tell, is an educated man. He knows what he's talking about. And again, you know, you have to always make your own decisions when it comes to different things that you're dealing with personally. But it is good to have a reference. I want to go to something else really quickly. So
can I bring up something real quick? I want to ease in just for a second.
Come on with it. You coming with it?
Okay, you brought up earlier about the emotional side of it, how emotions run high. When it comes to the kids, I know like on your end, like men don't get too emotional, but like how have you tried to shield the children from these high emotions? And if it's being done on the mother's side, and if not, have there been times where you've kind of heard the mother speaking through the children?
Oh man. Unfortunately, like kids are like tape recorders, right? So unfortunately, too many times the things that I have tried to do, I'll give you a perfect example right now. My kids are with me now. There's no way on this earth that I'm gonna let my kids hear me talk negatively about their mother.
Right.
No matter what happened between me and her. They're not going to hear me talk negatively about their mother. That's not my place. They'll grow up. They can be able to see things for what they need to see them for themselves. So that's one of the main things I do. So for example, even though I'm in my house, I am trapped in a room inside of another room, ensuring that they cannot even hear this conversation, right? Because their kids are innocent. They're pure innocent. They don't have anything to do with what happened between the parents, right? And we should not. Another thing I unfortunately see a lot of is, you know, unfortunately kids feel like they have to quote unquote pick a side, team mom, team dad. Shame on the parents. Shame on us for trying to, well, you know, your mama did this and your mama did that, or you know, your daddy, no. Let these kids look at their parents as kings and queens, because that's all they know, right? So shame on me or for any other father to demise their child and talk negatively about the mother. I laid down with her, right? I made a choice to lay down with this woman, and we all are grown. We know how kids are made, right? So like shame on me or shame on vice versa if you go in and try to talk in a negative connotation. Now, I can't control. One thing I had to learn a long time ago in life is you can't manage people. So I can't control what that person does. But what I can control is what happens in the surroundings that I have. So with that being said, I always make sure that I say things like, hey, we both love you. You know what I'm saying? Hey, respect your mother, respect your father, respect your elders. I don't say, well, you got to respect me. I don't care what you do on her side, right? So you have to lead by example. And sometimes it gets frustrating, especially when you have the emotions. So you have to lay those emotions, put them on the side, right? And make sure that, like I say, again, the main focus are those kids.
You know, I want to say something really quickly, just off that part you said about emotions. Yes, for the men that are listening and or women, I think what he said, we have to pay attention to that. Men do have emotions, and just because we don't show them all the time, it doesn't mean that they are not there. And sometimes we can explode. So like he said, you really do have to check yourself when it comes to those emotions, because man, you know, you may be thinking to yourself that what you're about to say, you're just getting it off your chest. Like he said, you know, you got to be able to control it. But if you get something off your chest as a man, sometimes the way that you're saying it may not be taken that same way through who you're talking to. So you have to be careful with that too, because that can cause serious arguments. And in some cases, if you can't control it, it can get violent. Would you agree, Jess?
Oh yeah. I was cautioned a few times when it came to going through the process of the separation. Hey, you might want to stay away. Hey, you might want to get your hotel room. Hey, you know, emotions run. And listen, it takes 15 seconds to change your whole life. Seriously. 15 seconds can change your whole life. As me being a male and a strong, big, bulky male, if I lay my hands on her, who wins? Their mother is physically assaulted and hurt. I can possibly serve time in jail. From jail, I cannot be the father that I need to be. So you have to be able to like like I said, you gotta put, I'm not correcting you, but it's just not on the man's side. It's both sides, right? There's both sides. The female's got to be accountable for their emotions as well, right? I hate when, you know, you're not a man or a woman are not supposed to put their hands at each other, but I've seen like, you know, you can watch YouTube or Facebook or whatever, and you see a man trying to walk away. He's trying to walk away and leave. And here she goes, you know what you did? And now put their finger in his face and boom, I see it happen. Like it shouldn't happen, but again, a lot of times we factor in and focus on the effect and not the cause.
Right.
We always focus on the effect, not looking at what caused that effect. He's not right for defending himself, but look at what she did before that happened, or vice versa. The story could be vice versa. You know what I mean? So yeah, all the emotions have to be laid aside and the focus has to be on them, the kids. So.
You know, and thank you for sharing that. That's very, very important. I agree that no, you didn't, I don't feel like you try to correct me or nothing at all, because this is you telling your story to help someone. So, you know, it's not you against me, it's just us working together. So speak your mind, man. One thing I want to talk about too, because this is really big in a lot of relationships, and the team, y'all can correct me, and also just correct me if I'm wrong, finances. Now, we don't want to get too far to finances, but we have seen lately, I think Coco was sharing some stuff with me about how some woman was talking about what it was, clothing, like she sends her kids over and designer clothes.
Yeah. She was saying that she purchases name brand clothes for her son, and she sends them over with the child to his father's house. But when the father sends him back, he doesn't send him back with those clothes, and sends him back with, like, you know, Walmart clothes, like Paw Patrol shoes, you know, stuff like that kids love, actually. So she was just really upset about that, basically saying that he doesn't do anything for him, and, you know, not providing, so on and so forth.
Oh man, you struck a nerve right there. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Sorry.
Listen, what I just say, get out the emotion. All right, cool. I would be lying if I didn't say that that's been an issue, and I'll probably say it's a perception thing as well. I dress even with the uniforms for school, right? So like, I'm trying not to get too detailed. Let's say this. Long story short, I sent them to school Friday in their children's place, brand new outfit, right? Brand new tags just popped off that morning. But when I get them in the afternoon, they're in a Hanes t-shirt and some biking shorts. I'm like, yo, where was the uniform that you had on today? Yeah, I left it over there. No, I need you to bring that back. You know what I mean? Like, that's monetary means. And like, what I was noticing was all the new uniforms is going over there. And now and again, I choose peace. I'm going to choose peace each and every time. You're not going to get me to argue with you. I will okay you to death. And so what I was doing was I would just go back out to children's place and just get more. And I was like, this is getting ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Now I see
Kind
what
of
it is.
costly there.
I choose
keeping
peace.
it over
I
there.
choose peace. I can go get more money. I choose peace, yo. So.
But I got to ask you this though, because this is something that came to me, and I just want to know, man. So and I just in general now, if a man is paying child support, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say, it's going to the mom, and then the mom says, I'm gonna do what I got to do to take care, the child. And of course, you're still the father, so you're gonna do your little thing too. But let's just say, for example, like you said, your kids may have soccer practice, football practice, basketball practice, whatever. And your son or daughter comes to you and say, hey, dad, I need some kicks, or I need a new jersey. Do you send the child back to mom and say, hey, look, man, I'm tapped out. I mean, I'm giving everything I got to your mom. Or does he step it up, work more hours, or what does the father do in that situation?
As a male, or a father, I guess you could say, or a husband, biblically speaking, we're supposed to be providers, right?
Right.
I'm going to make sure my son or my daughter gets them pair of shoes. Period. Getting a little detail, and that's fine. I have joint custody with my kids, so I don't deal with child support. I thought that was my number one fight when going through just wanting joint physical and legal custody of my kids. So we split the time with the kids. So at the end of the day, if they ask for it on my time, I get it. Period.
Okay.
That's why, we work, right? And so I'm kind of ignoring, I'm not actually asking the question. So here's what I always have said though. I would say this. If I ever got put on child support, now ladies, please do not come through this phone for me. If I ever got placed on child support, you can't ask me for nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. That's because you wanted that put into the lines in the documents that I will be paying this X amount of money to you this month. That's what you get. Leave me alone. But since I don't have to worry about that. I think me not being on child support, I probably pay more, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind being a provider for the kids, right? So I don't mind us going to, whatever they need, or, I just make sure it happens. I just make sure it happens. And, sometimes, and let's not get necessities mixed up with, wants. There's needs and there's wants. So right. My kids are not going to, while they're under my, custody, they're not going to do without. They're not going to do without food. They're not going to do without clothes. They're not going to do without shelter, drink, whatever. So, yeah.
Okay. That's really good, man. I'm glad to hear that. And I think that, like I said, again, whoever's listening to this is very important to understand. Again, this is Opinionated Facts Media Group. So obviously you got to do what you feel is best for you. But I do think that these are some great examples for you guys to just hear and listen to.
Thank you, ladies, for not coming for me. I appreciate that.
I do have one more thing. Speaking of custody, and as far as going through the whole legal system. Now, even with you being a father, you want to be there. You're trying to spend time with your kids. You providing financially. But even with all that being said, with the court system, do you feel that it's still set up more so in the woman's favor, or do you think it's being a balance?
Well, yes, I think it's set up for the ladies. But let me make sure I say this. And I'm going to put this disclaimer out there maybe 2 or 3 more times before we leave. I don't have one issue, me personally, in my heart, in my spirit, and my soul. I have nothing negative to say about the mother of my children. We were able to more or less fight with each other versus going in front of a judge and letting them choose for us. So I forgot the proper terminology, but what we call mine's was I forgot the wording for it. Basically, we settled kind of quote unquote out of court, and the judge said, "Okay, I agree with what you guys have said." Not, it's non-contempted, non-something,
Non-contested. Non-contested.
thank
Uncontested.
you, thank you. That's what I was trying to say. So again, I respect to her for that, right? Because, at the end of the day, only person who wins in that case is the lawyers, right? Spending all this money. So it was not contested. The judge pretty much just had to sign off on it. However, yeah, the court still set up for the mother, right? It's the perception, given a child will be, the perception is the child will be okay without the father. But the child won't learn and grow or eat without the mother, right? It's a perception. And this is my opinion. I don't have any numbers to show statistically, but there's a reason that there's more single quote unquote mothers than fathers, right? So, I do feel like the courts I feel like it's getting better. I do keep me an attorney on site and an advisor just in case things go left. And I'm learning that the system is getting better. But yeah, people love mothers way more than they love fathers.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you know what? I'm gonna agree with you on that, Jess. And I think earlier you were saying something about Mother's Day and Father's Day. I guess in reference to that.
I mean, yeah, think about it, man. Listen, when Mother's Day hit, we about to shut down the streets, right? Mothers are getting flowers and roses and 5-course dinners and everybody's on Facebook saying, Happy Mother's Day. You are the strongest people in the world. Salute, right?
Yeah.
Let's keep it 100 for a second.
You're right.
Father's Day, we're going back to work just like any other given day. We might, if we get blessed, we might get a tie. Right? Might get a tie, and we might get we don't even get a real car, we get a car made from the kids, right? Look at that differently. We're not going on a 5-course meal.
And not to mention, you can go to any restaurant on Father's Day without waiting. Yeah,
Listen,
man.
Mother's Day, you're waiting an hour. You're waiting an hour just to go to Applebee's. Just to get to Applebee's, you know what I'm saying? You go anywhere you want to. Come on in. We got a spot for you. Here you go. So, mothers are definitely, more, saluted than fathers. And the other thing I had talked to, Journey about, real quick. So on Father's Day on Facebook, it says, Happy Mother's Day. Salute to you guys, right?
Right.
Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, and to all the mothers out there taking care of their kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't let me be great.
So true.
This disrespect.
24 hours, yo. Like, wow.
Hey, you right though. That's real. You right about that.
Yeah.
Speaking to a comment that you made just a minute ago about having like a lawyer and an advisor and everything, I was wondering, like, with some of the difficulties that you have been having with the custody situation and everything, what are you doing, going forward, to kind of like try to remedy the situation? Or is there really anything that you can do? Are you just kind of dealing with it as it comes?
Yeah, well, let me see how to go into it. So there obviously have been talks of, the other parent wanting more time than me and things of that nature, going back through the process. I'm gonna say this, and it's sad. This is the sad part about it, but like, I had got to a point where it was like, anything I purchased, I felt like I needed to keep the receipt. Right? Like, to prove, there's lies that can be told. There's manipulations that can be done. There's perceptions that can be done. And it can make you look like a bad person, especially when somebody wants you to look like a bad person. That's what the goal is, right? Hurt people. And, maybe that person was going through a particular time in their life. I'll give you a perfect example. There was a manipulation where, matter of fact, it was on Juneteenth. And, my kids stayed asleep until like 3:00. And so 3:30, I get a phone call. They was like, what have you eaten? The answer was nothing, but they just woke up, right? But what was said was, my kids have been starving all day long. You see how you tweaked it to make it seem like they were hungry, but they literally had just woke up. They TikToked all night long, right? So it wasn't a school night, but the perception was, he doesn't have any food to feed them.
Okay.
You see how you just tweak that, let me calm back down.
Hey, it's okay, man. Hey, get it off the chest, bro.
But it's hurtful because, you know what I'm saying, as in, and I say this humbly, but as a person who makes sure that not only does he have a refrigerator, he has a deep freeze full of food that they're always able to eat for the manipulation to be perceived as they're hungry or I lack their food as if I don't go to work every day, right? So one of the things you line up is, hey, this is what I did for the child. Unfortunately, you shouldn't have to do that, but sometimes you have to unfortunately prove yourself, right? Hey, what? They don't have any clothes. Here's the Old Navy receipt. Here's the Burleson receipt. Here's the Children's Place receipt. What? There's no food. This is where I went to the grocery store on this day. This is what I did on this day. This is, you know what I mean? Just because we come in, if it's not documented, and you can take this in any aspect of life. If it's not documented, it didn't happen. So that's what that's what was like some of my advice given from my retainer spent with just in case, being on deck and being prepared. So unfortunately, the males usually are the person who's having to fight all the time. We ask men, why didn't they fight for their children more? We never ask, why did we have to fight for the kids at all?
Right. That's a big point. Solid point.
I hope you caught that. We don't ask fathers, why didn't they fight for more time for the kids? Why don't we ever ask, why did you have to fight for the time with your kids at all?
In the first place.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a very, very good point. And I'm going to say this. I've been saying this the whole time. Fathers, mothers, if you're listening, make sure that you really are listening to what this man is saying, because this is good game. We're going to get ready to close today. And I guess I want to ask you this, Just, and you can just come up with whatever you want. I'm asking for 3. If you got 3, cool. If you don't have 3, no pressure. But what are 3 things you would tell a man that may be in your position or if he's heading to your position? And when I say position, I mean a father just trying to be in this kid's life and has some pushback from the mother. What are 3 things you would give them as far as advice?
1, ensure that you keep communication with the kids.
Okay.
That way your voice is being spoken directly to them. And you don't have to worry about, even if lies are being told or whatever, make sure that you're able to tell your kids your view. Not that you're right or you're wrong in what happened between you and the mother. Just make sure I pride myself in trying to, during the duration of time that I don't have them, I try to make sure I speak to my kids twice a day. Right before they go to school in the morning, I want to be the last voice to hear at night. Okay. Therefore, always knowing that daddy's here. So I guess my first is, don't let the kids know that make sure that your kids know that you're always still available to them. 2, don't worry about that hearsay. Don't worry about the outside world, right? Like, as long as you and your kids on the same accord, that was one of the biggest lessons I had to learn, because I'll be lying. I want to be very transparent here. For the first, I don't know, maybe 18 months, I would be like, what? They said this? They said what? You know what I'm saying? I'm worried about what, they're telling everybody else, when at the end of the day, what matters is what the relationship that me and my children have together, and God knows. And that's all that matters. Everything else, you got to dial it back. I mean, you just have to, you have to stay away from it. And I apologize if I offend anybody. Stay prayed up, man. Stay prayed up, and just remember what your goal is. And I pray that your goal is to ensure that your children don't have to grow up without you being a part of their lives.
Look, if y'all need any more game than that, come on, man. As far as my team, and first of all, let me thank you so much, Just, for sharing this with everyone. I really appreciate you coming on and just taking the time, and because I think that you blessed a lot of people with the things that you said. So thank you so much.
I hope so. Thank you for having me. I was just saying, I hope so. I hope it. If it didn't help with one person, my job was done, right? You know what I mean? So
for sure. As far as my team, what y'all got? Y'all got anything else in y'all heart?
I thank you again. I appreciate you sharing your story. And again, that's the whole goal, to help people and to be able to do relationships better. So thank you again.
Yeah, and
Same over here. Oh, go
Which,
ahead. No,
it's a race. It's a
go ahead.
race.
She got me first. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, obviously, thank you as well for being on, but also just for, being transparent and sharing your story, but also what the story that you're sharing. So basically, thank you for being a great father. Thank you for being a stand-up guy and not being like one of the fathers that you speak about, like, that leave the children or, whatever. Like, thank you for doing your part in spite of. So.
Thank you.
And
That's all I can do is try.
And I'm just like everybody else. Thank you for coming on. And like I said before, as somebody that's, I haven't been married or I don't have kids yet or anything like that. So it's putting me on game of things to watch for, when that time comes. So like I said, I appreciate you being so open and honest.
And man, God uses people as vessels, and I pray that He used me today to help somebody.
Sure, for sure. So I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here, man. Don't forget, you guys. We're going to be doing more of these. This is our way of just trying to make sure that we reach the people that are listening to us, because we want to be, like just said, a vessel that's being used to help people to get through the things that they go through. So in conclusion, thank you, Jess. Thank you to my team, Coco Love, Illuminated Lenses, Journey to be Great. I am Swaver. This is the Opinionated Facts Media Group podcast. Until next time, you guys. Peace.